Hello, all my friends. Hello, all you beautiful people. Hello, all you real estate investors. And I know networking is a huge part of why we're here tonight, but also we're going to go ahead and get started on the program.
What's up, guys? Thank you all for coming tonight. I just want to thank the sponsors for this event, Rick Davis with Rick Davis Title. He is right back there. We've used him a ton. He's very investor friendly, very wholesale friendly, anything creative, really great to work with, straight shooter. So if you guys need any title work at all, I would advise you go to Rick Davis Title. Super great. He's got some awesome features like mobile note or online notary. So you can be anywhere in the world, still close to notary, and a bunch of other cool stuff. Check him out. Also check out Rent Redi, KC Investor Funding. He's where we get our investment loans for our rehabs. So go check him out. Does really great, super fast, quick closings. Does his inspections himself, so you can get stuff done really quick and surefire, and very affordable. So check him out. We also have Stephanie with Ace Cleaning Service, who I use to clean my Airbnb, and then also do our move-out clean. She's actually doing one right now. So check her out. Look her up at Ace Cleaning Service on Facebook, or if you guys need an awesome cleaner, come talk to me after the event, and I'll set you up with her. Very affordable, super fast, and just does a good job when she says she's going to do it. So yeah, guys, thanks for coming, and thanks for the our hosts, Outlaw Cigar Brewery, for letting us use your space. They've been very kind to set the whole room up for us and get everything ready. So they're really awesome, and I hope you guys are enjoying the cigars and the awesome brews. So without further ado, thank you guys all for coming. The presentation tonight is how I achieved financial freedom in under 2 years at 22 years old without a trust fund or rich uncle. We'll be going into that tonight. So, first off, where I got started, like most of you guys, every overnight success took 10 years, and it's no different for me. My journey started way back when I was a kid, actually. So I think where a lot of my why comes from, why I put on this event, and why I'm in real estate and like working hard and trying to achieve my dream is just childhood. My dad really is my biggest inspiration. I grew up, I had a stay-at-home mom and 5 siblings, and he was the only income, and he had a small business, just him, a solopreneur. And we grew up in a good area in Smithfield, but definitely had a money was tight. It was just him working, 6 kids. It just doesn't go very far. So. But I saw that. I saw my mom being able to stay home and raise us. I was homeschooled for most of my life, and all my siblings were. And just seeing my dad able to provide for us, and while we didn't probably, we weren't getting like an Xbox every year, and we had a good job, right? So but seeing him work hard and do that, and I just really I never wanted to, be without, right? I wanted to be able to do that for my family, for my kids. I wanted to be able to provide. Not like that I really didn't have, I just didn't really, there were times when I felt, kind of restrained, right? So I just wanted to, that's kind of inspired me from a very young age to, save my money and work hard at what I want to do, because I want to build that financial freedom for myself and for my family. And that's what, pushes me to come up here and talk to you guys. It's the first time I'm really giving a talk, but, I was like, I got to do it. I want to speak on a stage of 1,000 people one day, and it starts here. So, I hope you guys like this, but, please give me feedback after we're done. So, with that, I kind of started out, had the entrepreneurial bug even from a young age. I was actually in high school in 2016. I was selling fidget spinners. I bought fidget spinners from China and was just selling them in school for $20 a piece. And that kind of evolved, and I had a couple little small businesses, worked at McDonald's, bought myself a car. That evolved into right out of high school, we were all struggling to, kind of figure out our way in the world, what we want to do, where we want to go to college and stuff like that. And I had an internship, and unfortunately it was an internship where they really didn't want me to be there. And so I was doing a lot of, sweeping the floors and taking out the trash, and that gave me a lot of time to think. And while doing that, I realized that my dad wanted me to become an engineer because that's what he did. And while I did get accepted to a couple engineering schools, I just realized that wasn't the thing for me. And so, I went all in on marketing and sales is what I committed to. So that kind of goes to my first point is, with real estate investing, to kind of give you a sneak peek of where I'm at today, and this will kind of tie around to that, is at 22 years old, I have 10 units stabilized, and from that, I gross over $12,000 a month in rental income, and then net about just over $4,000, and that's after all expenses paid, mortgages, insurance, taxes, maintenance, all that stuff, and so that's about $50,000 a year tax-free and passive income. And so that is allowing me to do a lot of stuff, but it didn't just happen, right? So there was a process to get there, and it's a lot of hard work and sacrifice, which I'll go into. So from that, I realized that I wanted to. I knew from a very young age that I had to make a lot of money for the reasons that I stated before. I really am driven to. I saw my dad just providing for the family, and I wanted to be able to do that too. I wanted to be able to, have a wife that was able to stay home. A lot of people, they don't have that ability, where, both people have to work and stuff like that. So I wanted to be able to do that for my future wife and family. And that's kind of really, I'm not a materialist person, I don't even really buy anything for myself, but it's all to build this, the financial freedom, which is why you guys are all here. You're all here because, who likes financial freedom, right? Who's in here to be financially free? And why are you watching Netflix? Why'd you come out here to go meet people, right? It's because you want to meet people, make more money, right? Is that right, or am I wrong? Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought, but that's why I come to these events, but yeah, so that's why, and, so with that, to do that, to invest in real estate, you've got to make money, right? You've got to make a lot of money, because you can try to do it with no money, but it's very difficult, right? You have to have some kind of income consistently in order to do this. And I don't know if you've ever tried to get a loan or anything like that, but if you don't have some consistent W-2 income, it's very difficult to do, right? It's very difficult to make anything happen without some consistent income. So I recognized that, and I just knew I wanted to get in and do a high income skill, so I chose sales because it's what I'm good at, Like I said, I sold some stuff, I was good with people, so I was I just don't think the engineering thing's for me, right? I'm just not into sitting there, and I'm a real big extrovert, that's why I like these events, and why I put one on is because I just see the value from the networking and stuff like that, and so, that's what I thought I'd be good at. So I went in and did that. I got a job, I worked with my dad for the first year. He had an opportunity in his business. It was kind of taking off right as I graduated. Like I said, it was real small for most of my life, solopreneur. But then right as I kind of graduated, he really started picking up. He had a couple employees, and it was the perfect time for me to go ahead and get in. Didn't know anything, but I had a goal, and I had the commitment, right? So I went in, and I learned. He bought some courses, and I just dug into those sales courses, marketing courses, digital marketing, all that sort of thing, and just I was going to school, then going to work, and then doing 3 hours of courses every day for 3 months until I just got really good at it. And then I took that and applied it in the business, and we were able to the July after I graduated, we had the best month of sales ever. In large part it's because of the stuff that I implemented from what I learned, right? And he had a guy that could really focus on that, and so that really solidified in my mind that I was, there was some money to be made, right? I had some skills, and that was my first point: is you've got to, to achieve financial freedom, and what is that, and what that is to me. To achieve financial freedom is to be making enough passive income and more to where it covers all of your living expenses, right? And so, for me, those are relatively small by design, but the ability to do that, and where you can, whether or not I, get out of bed, or that money's going to keep coming in every month, right? And it's going to keep paying for my expenses and putting more money in my pocket to continue investing, right? And while it's not a ton, it's $50,000 tax-free, and that's just right now. I'm constantly working on it. So, that is a very comforting feeling to be able to do that. I'm sure that's what we're all after, is that security, right? To have all that passive income. To buy that first property, which I'll tell you about, you have to have a lot of money saved up. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. So I went and worked, got really good at marketing and sales. I was making $15 an hour, and I negotiated with my dad. I was like, look, I'm going to start my own business. I'm not making enough money, right? Like, I just can't, it's not going to work, making $15 an hour. So I either got to start my own business, or we set up some kind of commission thing. So we set up a commission structure where there was no risk to him, and I was able to have a lot of upside, right? And so I was just like all in. And I proceeded to increase sales so much that, from that year in 2019, I made right around $100,000 a year, right? Up until, I eventually left. But, I worked with him for like 4.5 years. So from that money, like I saved up, so I didn't buy my first property until like late 2020, right? So I was just like nose to the grindstone, working on this business, right? Making money, making the company money, and making myself money and saving that money. Like, that's my other point is that, if you want to really achieve financial freedom, like, you got to make a lot of money, but you got to keep a lot of money, because a lot of people, they figure out how to make like a lot of money. Like, I see these guys that are, and it's in every industry, right? But like, these guys will get like a wholesale check, and they'll make like $10,000, $15,000. They've never even seen it before, and they'll just blow it. You'll never hear from them again for months, right? Because they're just living on the money, right? And they just like, and then when they run out, they go do another deal, and that's, you see a lot of like agents and stuff like that. Not to pick on agents or anything, but it's just a commission sales nature, right? Like, people live on what they need. They don't think about saving unless you have a goal, But like with me, I always had that goal. Like, I knew that I was going to invest that money in real estate. It was just a matter of finding the right deal. So I took all the money, virtually all of it, and saved it, right? Like, I've been living on $1,500, $2,000 a month since I left my house. Like, it hasn't changed even now. Still living like I work at McDonald's, right? And that's what I was gonna say until I get to where I need to be. But with that, so you gotta save it all. Like, if the first thing that I would do if you're not making 80 to 100 grand a year is find a job that somehow will pay you that much. Like, and there's like, I know like a lot of the people in here, and even the people I know, there's dozens of opportunities in real estate that will make that much. Like whether it's sales or construction or something. Like, I don't know if you guys want to share it, but raise your hand if you're, anybody's making over 6 figures in this room. I would hope somebody is. I mean, yeah, there's a good amount of people in here, right? Like, and if they're doing it, so can you. You just gotta, put your nose to the grindstone and figure it out. And it's definitely like I did. It was not because I was entitled or anything. I just I earned the money and had the system, the commission system to pay me, right? And it all made sense. Everybody won. And there's those opportunities out there, like like Anthony Coffey, he's looking for an assistant. I bet if you work with him, you could he'd find you a way to make a lot of money if you wanted to, but you've got to go after it. So with that, you got to save the money, and then you got to find the deal. So you only really need so my first deal, I bought a duplex, right, a house hack. This is what I would advise everybody to do if you don't have a deal yet, because it will probably swing the pendulum the farthest in the beginning. And why that is because you only need probably like $20,000 to get into a $300,000 duplex, right? With an FHA loan, you only put $10,000 down, $10,000 reserve. And I'll tell you the story of what I did. So that's what I did. I bought a duplex. And that duplex, I bought it, I was paying, $450 a month. I moved in. The other side was rented. I quickly found 3 roommates to live with me, okay? And I went from paying $450 a month to living rent-free, all utilities paid, and profiting $1,000 a month on top of that, right? So that's like a $1,500 swing in passive income, because I no longer have to pay rent, and I'm making $1,000 a month, right? And that you could do that with 10 grand, right? Like, it's very doable. So, and that's not very hard to save. I mean, if you save, $22,000, $3,500 a month, you can do that in less than a year, 6 to 12 months. If you just commit, if you're dead broke right now, you can do that. And so that's what I would advise you to do, because these deals are out there, like Joe Blackshear's helping one of the other gentlemen here find one. And that's what I would do for my first deal. That's what I did because you get the best loan. FHA or a 3% down conventional loan is literally the best loan you'll ever get, ever. And unless you can do some crazy sales finance thing, like you'll never find a better, less money down, long-term fixed loan. You know, like I did a conventional loan, put more money down. I wish I would have put less down because you don't want money tied up. You want all that money so you can go buy the next deal, right? So once you do that, you know, you've got your job, or you've got some, like, and I honestly, like, people want to go and be an entrepreneur and, like, do their own thing right out the gate. I don't know if I'd really advise that. Like, unless you are really surefire, like, especially if you've never done it before, like, it's real hard to do your own thing and be consistent on it. And the banks don't like it either, especially if you're getting started. I mean, I wouldn't have jumped in and done this full time if I already didn't have all this stuff built. Like, I worked with my dad, and 50 hours a week in a very intense executive position, and built this all in the background, right? Like just on the side. I built up 9 units that way, just buying turnkey or like really light rehabs with the money that I had made, and all while generating that income, and then just pouring it all into more deals. Like I saved up, and this a lot of people can't do this, or they not that they can't, but it's just I would probably invest sooner if I had the knowledge, but like I saved up over $100,000 in cash before I bought my first deal, because I was waiting for that deal to come, so I could find it, right? And so I started researching, and I bought that duplex, right? And so that was in October 2020, just a couple years ago, and then kept grinding, kept saving, and had that primary residence, and then the next summer. And this is like when things are going crazy, like, you can make things work in any market. Like in that market, like I bought my duplex right before things got really crazy. And then, that 2021, as you guys all know, it was a nuts year, right? Like you couldn't find anything, right? Well, I found another house on market. Austin helped me find that one, and bought that. So I bought another house, and that was like 8 months after I bought my first one, So it's just kind of like, it goes slow at first, right? But like all the while, building something. So I was netting about $500 a month in that house. I think actually got a really good loan, because like rates were super cheap. In July of 2021, it's like probably some of the lowest that they got. And then went from there, and still working full time, and found this deal with Austin. He found this, $60,000 house in Gladstone. Like again, I had saved up the money. Again, I'm like just doing this, not spending. I'm just like living on nothing, with this plan. I got another $100,000 saved up, and Austin finds this house for 60 grand on market. Again, it's crazy time. Like, you have to put an offer in, like that hour, or it's gonna go somewhere else. And so he's like, man, you wanna, do this house? Like, I think it's worth 140. You put 40 into it. We flip it. Like, I've never done a flip, right? Like, this is totally brand new. I've only bought 2 properties before this. Like, I'm just kind of, getting comfortable with the whole idea, right? So, but, I took the leap of faith. I was like, man, I'm going to trust you. Like, I had the money, and I was like, man, if we can make, $20,000 a piece, like he was going to manage it, and I was going to fund it all. Like, we didn't even get a loan. Like I paid it all in cash, right, out of my pocket. And that's a lot of risk, like. But I was sure in the deal. Like I figured, well, the house, it's worth $60,000 now. Like it's probably gonna be worth $60,000 if it all, if it doesn't work out. So like, let's do it. We got to figure out how to flip, So, who wants to take a leap of faith? Who would leap for $20,000? Anybody? I don't know if you're in the right spot. This is a risky game sometimes. You got to take leaps. So we did that. And did it with Austin. He got into the deal no money, right? Like that's another thing you can do. So like, if you don't have any money, like Austin, like he had managed a rehab before, but I'd seen his work ethic, I knew what he was like, and I was like, man, I can work with this guy. And he's like, I'll do everything. Like you're working your job, you stay focused on that, I'll manage it all, and we'll split it, right? And I'm like, sounds good to me. So we did that, and got it all done within like 2 months, and got it reappraised, appraised for 136. We shot at 140, so that was like a big win, right? So we both made, $17,000. right? And then we've still got that house today. Austin kept it, paid me out of the deal with the refinance, and that was like the start of our flips. And then right after that, like literally, this is another challenge. So we were gonna get a loan, and then like for the refinance, I had another two properties under contract, dependent on us getting the money for this refinance, right? And like I was gonna buy another duplex and another triplex, and like the loan blew up, right? It was like 2 weeks before Christmas. I got to close on both these things before the end of the year, and so. Do I just be like, oh, give up, like, let's throw in the towel and lose these deals? I'm like, no, like, we're going to get these things done. So we run to the banker that I know from working in the business. I'm like, hey, man, like, can we get a loan in like 2 weeks? Like, I know Christmas is coming up, but, we really need to get this refinanced, So, and I was like, calling him like twice a day, right, like to get this thing done. And we got it done. So we got the refinance. And I was able to close on this duplex. They had to close. We put I don't know what it was, like $5,000 or $7,000 non-refundable earnest deposit. So committed, and we closed December 31st. Okay, we had to close before the end of the year, and got it done. So but that's just because I was committed to getting that deal done. I talked to my dad. I was like, hey man, can you bail me out? Like I just need some money to close on this stuff before, because they're gonna cancel, right? Like if I'll get my refinance, I need money for like a week. He's like, no. I was like, okay, okay, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. And I was mad, but looking back, I'm glad that he didn't do that because it forced me to figure it out. I wasn't able to get bailed out. I had to sink or swim. So we figured out how to swim, and I was able to buy that. Because I was like, he's like, you'll get another deal. And I was like, I'm going to lose, $800 a month in cash flow if I don't close on this thing. So, and I want my earnest money. So we closed, and then I went ahead and closed on another triplex, just about a month later, and got that one. So that's how I got to 9 units, is from those deals. And, that's kind of built the basis of my foundation. Again, all the while, still working full time, and still grinding away and doing that, and this is just all after hours that I'm, working on these investments and finding tenants and just figuring this stuff out, right? But, it just goes back to what you want to do. And some of my goals are, I want to have 1,000 doors paid off, right? And that's a huge goal. But and it's, but the closer that we get, every deal we do, it gets more and more possible. For example, we did one rehab in 2021, right? But last year in 2022, we bought 12, okay? So we did 12 flips in 2022. And I worked in my full-time job for 9 months of that year, while Austin's running stuff, and I'm floating everything, and we're figuring this out, right? We're taking a lot of action, and figuring out how to do these deals. And so, I was working, and I've been working for 4.5 years, and making good money, but I started making more money from these flips, right? And I had my income from my rentals paying me every month, and I was it was just getting to a point where I was getting pulled, because it's hard to focus on something when you're doing better somewhere else, and you're not even having to work on it as hard, right? And so I was man, I need to really go into these flips because I'm going to make a lot more money there. And it was a really big conflict because I love my family, and I felt like I really needed to be there and help my dad. And it was, really pulling on me, but I realized, he could tell that I was feeling, kind of strained in multiple directions. So, eventually I went ahead and split with him because it just made sense. I wasn't able to focus on that. And so I went full time into real estate, but I didn't do that until making $4,000 a month passive income and already have something else that's making more money than, I think I made more money from doing that in 2022 than from my job in the same time period. I wasn't even working really on the flips, right? So I only jumped off because I was dead certain that we were going to be able to do that successfully and jump from that opportunity to this better opportunity, right? But it was after proving the concept and figuring it out, and getting some trial runs, right? So now, I left my full-time job in September, and have gone just all in, right, with my partner Austin, and we're doing deals. You know, we're flipping and wholesaling, and that's what we're doing. So, I tell you all that. That's kind of my journey and how I got to where I am now. Like this event, this is like one day, I went to actually one of Minnie's events. She's here in the room, or was. Minnie, are you here? Minnie's back there, Minnie Templeton. She runs an awesome event every single month, and I think she's got one next Thursday. Yeah, go check that out next Thursday. It's down in Blue Springs. But she runs a great event similar to this one, and I actually went to one of her events in I think February of 2022, and that one was like, that was really the inspiration for this, because I saw her and I was like, man, like if she can do this, like I can do it, she's a great person, right? But I was like, man, I can do this too. Like, why not? I want to have an event. I'm trying to get my name out there, grow my YouTube channel. That's another thing, growing this YouTube channel all the time, making videos, and so that takes some time too. But it's I need to we need to grow this thing, right? I need more people to know me, so that we can change more people's lives and get more help more people with things like this, right? So I just was like, hey, let's put on an event, if nobody shows up, hey, want some free food, So did that, and then so that's kind of how I got here, and tying it all back, we're still going. I'm pushing every day. We have this week has been very challenging for a few reasons, but there's storms and there's challenges, and one thing that John Maxwell says that I heard him say is that everything worthwhile that you want is uphill all the way. I don't know if you guys have experienced any of that, but it's real. It's just challenge, especially if you're trying to grow, trying to break out. It's going to be really challenging, and so expect that, but it's all worth it. I feel so much better now, that I've done all this stuff. I think previous me, a me last year, I'm thanking him all the time, for doing these things to get here, and it's very challenging sometimes, but it's all worth it. I'm just in the beginning, I've got a lot of road left to go, and even if you're farther along, if you're older, there's people like Minnie, she didn't really get started, investing, for just a couple of 2 years ago, right? How many units do you have, Minnie? 16 units. Yeah, so 16 units, I think she's been investing 2-3 years, something like that. Yeah, 3 years. I mean, if she's, in her, I think your 40s, right? Or 20s, maybe? I'm so sorry. She's just very wise, So, there's that. But any time, no matter where you're at, it's totally doable. You just have to get into it and just set out with the goal and keep at it. But that's why I keep going, guys. It's just because I want to, build this empire. I want to build this vehicle through these rental properties. There's other vehicles out there, but from what I've found, rental real estate is probably one of the most secure, surefire ways to build financial freedom. And I'm sure you all agree because you're here, but I don't know about you, but I sleep pretty good at night. But the S&P 500 and stuff down 60% or something, for the year. So some people are hurting, but my rent's still coming in every month, so I feel pretty good about it. And I would advise you guys to do the same, because it's really stable, relative to a lot of things that are a lot more fluctuating. But there's some challenges with it, but it's all worth it. And I want to build that financial future. I really want to build it up so that I can, my girlfriend came here and saw me, and I really want to be able to marry her one day. But with that, I want to build it up to where she can, if she wants to, we can have some kids and she can stay home and raise them, right? But it takes a lot of effort right now to get there to where we can build that up, so that way, in a few years, we'll have that foundation built. And so that's right. But if you guys have any questions, I'll take some questions right now, guys. But I hope that you enjoyed me talking. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Are you sourcing your own deals, or are you buying them from wholesalers?
Both. So we've been buying from wholesalers for a lot of the first bunch of properties, but now mostly our own. We started our own marketing through SMS and calling and stuff like that, and just driving for dollars. A lot of stuff is coming out of our own pipeline now. But yeah, definitely when you get started, and continuing, people, wholesalers can still find you great deals, but if you can get your own deals and they're like good, then you can, make a lot more money, but I wouldn't let that, stand in your way, because there's a lot of great deals wholesalers have, for sure. Any other questions? Did that answer your question, Mr. Todd?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, sir. What marketing strategies am I doing? Is that what you said? Yeah. So we're so a few. So primarily the biggest what would you call it? Like where we're actually like outreach marketing is through we're SMS texting and calling. So doing I call people, I like the phones, and so SMS texting is probably like the best value that you can get for the impressions. Literally, so you can pull like a list, like a foreclosure list, for example, or like you import your driving for dollars list, and literally it costs 40 cents to send 1,000 text messages. Okay, like it is ultra cheap. All right, now the software costs a little bit every month, but if you're doing it all the time, like it's probably the cheapest way to hit a ton of people, right? And so that's what we decided to do, just text and call. A couple guys told me that there's like 1,000 ways to skin a cat finding deals, but you got to just find one that works for you and just really go after it, figure it out for like 6 months at least. Or it's just because people they throw some darts at the wall and then they just don't follow through, and it's like marketing doesn't work that way. You've got to really be after it for a long time to really prove. And all these things do work. Like people have made them work. But there's just everyone's like, oh, dude, go drive, send a mail, call. Like it all works. It's just you got to just do one consistently to make it work. Any other questions? Yes, sir. I don't really have any conversion numbers. Yeah, it is for wholesaling and flipping. I've wholesaled one deal so far. I would have wholesaled more, but we like to buy all the really good deals and hold them. And so, we're trying to buy up and burr as much as we can. And that's the thing with, the flipping, we're more trying to burr than flip because, if you really start looking into it, if you try to flip consistently, wholesaling is probably a lot better way to generate cash, right? Because with a flip, even if you do a really good flip, say you got 30% margins, to sell that is going to cost you 10% right off the top, and that's 30% or more of your profits. But if you keep the property, you keep all that, right? You keep all that equity, and you get the rent. So you're making 50% more per deal than the flipper. In the long run, right? You do need cash for your business, but in the long game, the equity is really where you want to be. We had a deal, and right now it kind of gets tight because the interest rates have gone up and property values, interest rates have doubled, but property values are the same. Maybe they fall 5%, slightly lower. So we had a deal that it appraised for $170, and we rented it for $1,250 a month. We could only get a loan for $100,000. So that's a 65% LTV with the cash flow on that deal. So we had enough margin where we could do that. We did have to bring some money to close, but things are getting squeezed. But then we'll hold on to that and positively cash flows, and then in 2 years, say rates drop down to 5, right? We can pull all that money out and have a lower payment, and we'll be sitting on a ton of equity that we can convert back into cash. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
My buy box?
Buy box? We like stuff in good areas. We like right now we're buying a lot in the Northland, north of the river, and then Leavenworth. We just bought 3 houses in 64116, and then we've been buying a lot in Leavenworth. And Leavenworth is kind of relatively untapped. I think it's a really strong cash flow market. It's 50% investor owned, so it's seriously the prices are totally controlled by the rents. It's an older market, but it's not very far away, and we like it a lot because we can get really good deals, and the cash flow is really strong and really stable there. And they got the military base and stuff. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. So we like that. And we like the Northland and stuff. We go farther south. It's just that we're comfortable up here, and we haven't run out of deals. So we're going to just keep buying up here as close to where we live. It just makes sense. So anything 2 bed, 3 bed, stuff that's kind of, entry level, like rental housing is what we like to do in flip, because it's just like, we have multiple exits, because we can either sell it, or we can rent it, or short term it. Like there's like 3 different ways to go, but if you start getting into like more expensive stuff, like $400,000+, like nothing that expensive really makes sense as a long-term rental. And even, people try to justify their purchases with like Airbnb, and Airbnb is good, I have an Airbnb, but like, I wouldn't buy a property solely based on my ability to Airbnb it, because, if something were to happen, like, you can always find a long-term tenant usually for the right price, but like, for regulation or something like that, I would always underwrite it for like a long-term tenant. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
What's your perspective
On the north end? Love it. There's definitely better areas than others, but I mean, by and large, it's, very, very good market. I mean, there's certain areas that are like a little bit less good, but like I would buy anything up here for the right price,
So do you find it more of a market or resale or buy?
It just depends on where you go. So like there's pockets, like a lot of the stuff is a lot nicer, like a lot newer. And those, you're only going to flip those if you ever find them. Like a lot of stuff is like less than, it's younger housing, but like in places like Gladstone or, North Kansas City, 64116, 64119, you can find, a lot of good rental housing there, and they're really good areas. Like people want to live up here. They want to live in the Northland. We really haven't had any problems finding tenants or anything like that. Sometimes they take a little bit longer, but like we just had it was a little bit longer last month, but that was just because I think the holidays and just like, everything it's like the worst month to try to lease anything. So, but yeah, it's really strong. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I know investors that are spending $5,000 to $10,000 plus on marketing every month to get those wholesale deals, plus the time value of chasing down those leads.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the thought process of let those wholesalers pay their assignment fees, save myself the time and the effort of marketing. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, right now we're not trying to take on a big marketing budget. Like I've spent, when I was working with my dad, like we were spending $100,000 a month on paid ads, right? Like through Facebook and Google and these places. So I'm very familiar with, running ads at scale. But for like this business, I think it matters. It depends on what level you're at. But if you're just like, if you're a wholesaler and like you have a pipeline and people that can convert all those deals, go for it. It's all relative to what you're grossing. But if you're like just, doing flips, I don't know what exactly you're doing, Tyler, but we're trying to stay lean right now. Like, I know we can convert a lot of deals with texting and calling and driving to where we don't have to have that overhead right now. And I'm confident that we'll be able to fill our pipeline, JVing with other people. So if you're just looking to do flips and stuff, like I wouldn't, necessarily spend all that money because we've gotten most of our deals up until very recently from wholesalers, right? Like even, Chris, he brought us this deal and it didn't work conventionally, but we were able to sell and finance it and still pay him a commission on top of that, right? It's like, he's a dead deal for him. He was like, I can't make it work, numbers don't work. Here you go. And I was like, I'll pay you $3,000 so we can figure this out. He's like, okay, sounds good. And, we got this one of our best deals ever. We got a, 20-year loan at 0% interest. I mean, it's nuts. So, there's all sorts of opportunities out there, especially with wholesalers. I mean, their job is to bring you great deals. And like, there's people like Chris and a ton of other guys in this room that, they have this figured out. Like, they can buy deals at super discounts all day long. So I would definitely use wholesalers if, you don't want to spend the money. And it's like, you don't even, especially right now, like, as things kind of tighten up, like, we're still trying to go full steam, but, we're trying to keep expenses low. You got to be really careful and stay cash heavy in order to, weather this stuff and have dry powder for opportunities. So, can I answer your question? Awesome. Any more questions, guys? Anybody, please? I'm here. Oh. What's my favorite market? What's that? Oh, like to find deals or? Oh, just a spreadsheet. Just like we just have a scope of work, and there's nothing complicated. You don't need a lot of magic to flip houses or wholesale. I mean, we use for like deal acquisition and texting, we use batch leads to do that because it's like semi-automatic. You can send 1,000 messages like in 60 seconds, right? Super fast. So that makes a lot of sense for us, and it's kind of like MLS. That's really the only like overhead software that we have. But yeah, like all the managing the flips and stuff, it's just run out of a spreadsheet, and you can get all complicated with it. But like until you're making a lot of money and you have people to where you need that, I wouldn't like that's not what's going to separate you from being successful. Like doing the stuff is what's going to make you successful, not all the gadgets and gizmos to help you do that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, now that it sounds like you've got yourself to a self-sustaining level with real estate, you mentioned that you did online stuff and sales with your dad. So now that what I hear from you is that you have pause time. So what is your next adventure outside of real estate? Are you just going to stick with what you're doing now for the rest of your life with 1,000 doors and you say, okay?
Yeah, I mean, for the foreseeable future, like so what he asks is, now that I'm like, financially free, am I going to keep doing real estate or am I going to change what I'm doing? And, with that financial freedom, like, yeah, I'm making, I'm spending like, let's just say $2,000 a month and making $4,000, but like, that's not what I want to be like. I don't just want to make $4,000 a month, like it's paying for my life now, but like I want to make, $10,000, $20,000 a month, right? So like, and beyond. So I'm going to keep, like I'm not, like when we went full-time into flipping, I'm like, we're going to give this, 24 months minimum and like make it happen, right? It's like we have a goal to do 40 houses this year in 2023. And it's just like it's exponential growth. And if we can like, say we burr like 30 houses, between the two of us, and that's just like year 2, right? Like you can just see the growth. Like there's lots of people doing, 100 houses a year. They might even be in this room. So like that's kind of our goal. We're just doubling down. Like that's not really like the money, the passive income is really not like making me complacent, I guess, or like wanting to slow down. And it's just like, okay, now I can breathe. Like I know that I'm going to have like money to eat. And so we can go full bore on doing more deals, right? So that's, just keep figuring it out and keep growing. So, but I mean, like, with it in real estate, like, I don't want to do anything else. I want to, I've done a lot of jobs, and like, this seems like the flipping houses is totally, like, it's perfectly parallel with my skills and goal to acquire rental property. And so, because we can just burr, into our rentals instead of, making cash somewhere else and then, like, just going and buying the same rentals I would have bought. So, it's like, people have different goals, but my goal is to acquire rentals, and so this is a very profitable and extremely tax-efficient way to do that. So, yeah. Thank you, sir. Any other questions, guys? Colin.
So are you eventually going to start using lines of credit instead of using the BRRRR method, or are you going to keep sticking with that?
Yeah, so he asked, am I going to use lines of credit instead of the BRRRR method, or maybe like financing or something like that? So we're doing that. I've got 3 different lines of credit on 3 different properties, and just using that to have capital to do more deals. And then we'll continue getting those lines of credit on the property. That's one thing that I would advise you guys if you have a property with a lot of equity in it. You can do, instead of getting a refinance, you can actually get a business line of credit on that commercial rental property. When I say commercial, I just mean investment. And the bank will do that, and they'll give you a line of credit that is as good as cash, and you don't have to pay any interest on it until you actually pull it out and buy a deal. So if you're sitting on a house or something like that, or you're like, oh, where am I going to get the cash I need? Like, you might look at that if you've got some, paid off or a property with a lot of equity in it. Yes, sir. Where do we see rental rates versus buying power? Like demand? Yeah. So he asked, where do we see rental rates versus like buying power and stuff like that? I mean, I think that, property values will probably stay pretty stable, maybe drop like 5 to 10% just because of the down pressure of interest rates. I mean, you guys can all feel that like stuff is sitting a lot longer than it was, like it's just, I don't think values are really going down a ton, but like the market is quickly transitioning to a buyer's market. And honestly, I think it's great for the rental market because like especially the lower end people, are just getting priced out. Like rent is becoming more affordable than buying in a lot of cases, and so people that were like, that's why there's these properties I'm selling is because, or they're taking longer is because they're becoming more unaffordable and more people are going to rent. So like we haven't, I think the rental demand will get stronger. Like I rented out a property a couple months ago and was able to rent it for more than I had previously. So it was, and that was just like 6 months before that. You know, I rented it for $1,400, was able to rent it for $1,500. So like, you know, I think that the rental demand will just increase because more people can't buy houses because of interest rates rising. Yes, sir.
I got two for you. First one, are you looking at markets outside the area?
So he asked, am I looking at markets outside the area? The answer is no, not really. I mean, if there like happen to be some, you know, big multifamily deal that we could go and take down somewhere else, maybe I'd consider it. But like, there's like so many deals here in Kansas City. It's not even funny. Like one of our friends that I had last month, Troy Kearns, like he sold all of his properties in Las Vegas and 1031 all of them into Kansas City. He's like, you know, this place is like flip and real estate heaven, right? And like, there's just like, if there was just like no deals that made sense, like yeah, I might, but there's just like so many deals that make sense. There's no reason to like leave the arena that I'm really good at and like try to go figure out another market. You know, like we bought a deal on a whim in like Ashton, Kansas, which is in the metro, but it's a different submarket, and like, you know, turned out to be a mistake. Like we didn't realize that the market was so dead there, you know, and we ended up selling that property. But you know, just went out on a limb, and I wouldn't probably invest anywhere that I didn't really know very well. Second question?
Second question, if you're comfortable sharing, what's your entity structure? You build everything in one LLC, you have multiple, you have a C corp,
Yeah, so he asked what's our entity structure with our properties. We've got a couple. So the main difference is we have like all of the rentals. Now me and Austin each have some that we own individually, but then we have some in our company. So we have a company that holds the rentals, and then we have a company that does the flipping and the wholesaling, right? Because like probably because we can get different, it'll do different protection on each one. Because like the flipping and the wholesaling company really is not going to have like a lot of stuff worth taking, you know, because it's just like a transactionary company. And then when we get done, we hold stuff, we hold it in the holding company, which has all the protections and stuff like that. So that's kind of the basic structure. Transactions in one, you know, holding in the other. But I'm sure it'll get more complex as we get bigger. But that's kind of where we're at right now. And you know, for hiding yourself, I mean, like I don't know if you guys are trying to hide from wholesalers and stuff, but it is like extremely easy to find somebody behind a company. If you just go to open corporates and then True People Search, you can find like everybody who owns a company. That's what I do like all the time, you know, to find buyers and stuff like that. I'll take one more question, and then we're going to get back to networking. And yeah, hope you guys got a lot of value. Anybody else? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys all for coming. Let's go. Thank you. Quick shout out to my sponsor, guys. Go talk to Rick Davis if you need title work. Talk to Rex if you need a loan. And come talk to me about Stephanie with Ace Cleaning if you guys need cleaning. And enjoy your evening. Oh, what's up? Oh yeah, and check out Allie. Allie's in the blue back there. If you guys need any kind of signage, like he made this sign here, the banner. If you guys need like signs for your, what do you got, Allie?